Hello everyone. Welcome to Everyday Essential series of Shantha Lakshmi IAS Academy, where we are going to discuss the important topics from the Hindu and the Indian Express. So today in this video, let us discuss the topics from 4th and 5th of May 2025, where we are going to discuss the free movement regime, 7th Kalo India Youth Games, and the framework on repairability index in mobile and electronic sector, followed by Sham Prasad Mukherjee Port. So moving to our first topic, that is free movement regime. So why we are discussing this? Okay, before going into the present context, let us go back to the February 2025. So in the month of February 2025, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah has declared or announced that the government is going to suspend this free movement regime. So considering that, in the recent days, the United Naga Council in Manipur has sought the reinstatement of the free movement regime in the Naga areas on either side of the India-Myanmar border. So let us see what is this free movement regime means. It is a bilateral agreement between India and Myanmar, which permits the unrestricted movement. See here, it permits the unrestricted movement within 16 kilometers on either side of this Indo-Myanmar border, which is of 1643 kilometers. And who are eligible for this free movement regime? Here the person, any person belonging to the hill tribes, both from India as well as Myanmar, who had the border pass, which is valid for 1 year, are eligible for this free movement regime without any visa. And they are also enabled to stay for up to 2 weeks with this valid border pass. And for which states this free movement regime is applicable? It is applicable to the states which are bordering to the Myanmar, that is Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur and the Mizoram. So now moving into the objectives of this free movement regime. So why this free movement regime has got? Because first of all, it enhances the cross-border cooperation between India and Myanmar. That is, it enhances the political stability and the political cooperation between both India and Myanmar. And the second one is it boosts the socio-cultural ties between both the nations. Also, the free movement regime can boost the local trade, thereby benefiting economically in both the India and the Myanmar. So these are the objectives, basic objectives of this free movement regime. Now moving to the second topic, that is 7th Kalo India Youth Games. So why we are discussing this? Prime Minister Narendra Modi has inaugurated the 7th edition of this Kalo India Youth Games in Bihar, which is going to held from May 4th to 15th in 5 districts, namely Patna, Rajgir, Gaya, Bhagalpur and Begusarai. We can say this is the logo of this 7th Kalo India Youth Games, which portrays the Mahabodhi temple, Madhubani painting, Valmiki Tiger Reserve. And it has the theme, Kel ke Rang, Bihar ke Sank. And coming to the mascot of this 7th Kalo India Youth Games, the Gaja Simha. Gaja Simha is the mascot of this 7th Kalo India Youth Games. Now coming to the Kalo India Youth Games. So in the year 2018, this game was started as Kalo India School Games by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to enhance the sportive culture in the country. In the next year, in 2019, it was renamed as Kalo India Youth Games. And it is held under two categories, that is under 17 and under 21. And the special feature about the Scalo India Youth Games for the year 2020 is that the 2020 games included the indigenous games also, that is Gatka, Kalaripaya 2, Tangta and Mallakamba also. So these are basic details about this Scalo India Youth Games. And moving to our next topic, that is framework on repairability index in mobile and the electronic sector. So why we are discussing this? The Department of Consumer Affairs said that the committee by Bharat Khare constituted for the framework on repairability index in mobile and electronic sector has submitted its report to the Consumer Affairs Secretary. So the committee Bharat Khare was constituted by the Consumer Affairs to look into the matter of this repairability index, and it submitted the report to this Consumer Affairs Secretary. So what is this repairability index means? It is an index that label which will indicate how easy it is to repair a particular electronic device. So it is an index which will measure by focusing on these parameters, and it will say how easy it is to repair a particular electronic device. And coming to the 6 parameters, that is, it will measure on the depth of disassembly, and second one is availability of repair information, and third is the timely access to the spare parts, fourth is the software update policies, fifth is the tools required for repair, and the final one is the types and availability of the fasteners. So by considering and measuring all these parameters, an index will be created and it will be measured. So how is it easy to repair a particular electronic device? So what are the recommendations of this Bharat Kare committee? So remember, this Bharat Kare committee is on repairability index. The committee has recommended that the original equipment manufacturers should self-declare by themselves regarding their repairability index of this product. So how much the index has got with respect to the product, it should be declared by themselves, by the original equipment manufacturers. And the committee also said that the RI index should also be displayed at the point of sale or purchase. That is, in any mobile app or a platform or any QR code also. And the committee also recommended the priority categories as of now to measure this repairability index. That is, smartphones and tablets. So the committee has said that the smartphones and tablets, considering the importance of the smartphones and tablets, it recommended that these particular products as of now should have an repairability index at the priority. So these are some of the committee's recommendations. Okay. Now what is the significance of this repairability index? Yes. By having the repairability index, it boosts the repair accessibility. Also, it promotes sustainable economy, therefore in line with the lifestyle environment. And it also addresses the issue of planned obsolescence, where this planned obsolescence means where the companies targetingly manufacture a device so that the device should run up to a particular period and time. So after that, it will ask so many updates and it will slow, and the device will be slowed down so that we will purchase a new device. So it also addresses the issue of this planned obsolescence by giving all the information regarding this repair. Next, it also generates employment by allowing third party repairers. So this is all about this repairability index framework. Now moving to our fourth topic, that is Shyam Prasad Mukherjee Port. Why we are discussing? In a historic first, the Shyam Prasad Mukherjee Port, which is also known as Calcutta Port, which is one of India's oldest major riverine ports, launched the night navigation facilities in the upper reaches of West Bengal's Hooghly River. So the Shyam Prasad Mukherjee Port has for the first time has launched this night navigation capability. So that's why we are discussing this. And what is the significance of this night navigation capabilities? By having this night navigation capabilities, it will increase the number of vessels so that the night time can also be used for traveling. Next, the port will become a major attractive and competitive hub for global shipping lines. And having the night navigation system, it also reduces the vessel turnaround time, thereby easing the river traffic congestion, and which in turn will enhance the port overall port efficiency. So these are the advantages of having night navigation. And coming to the basic details about this Shyam Prasad Mukherjee port. Out of 13 major ports in India, this Shyam Prasad Mukherjee port or the Kolkata port is the only riverine major port. It was built by the British East India Company in the year 1870. And it has two distinct dock systems, that is Kolkata dock system and Haldia dock system. So we are done with the topics for today's video. Now let us move to the prelims question based on the topics which we have discussed. Consider the following page. This was a PYQ, prelims previous year question, which asked about the ports. See, the UPSC is evolving in asking the questions. So that's why it is important to see or look at what is the first in India. The first or the important terms or the important historical achievements in India. The question here is Kamaraja Port. It said that the first major port in India registered as a company. The second is the Mundra Port. It is the largest privately owned port in India. Third is the Vishakhapatnam, largest container port in India. How many of the above given are correct? Only one, only two, all three and none. The answer is only two. Here Jawaharlal Nehru Port is the largest container port in India. The answer is B. So that's all for today's video. Thank you.